Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux, and today we're talking about photography. So photography is one of the subjects in art that I was really drawn to throughout my experience in college, and it's actually what my emphasis in art was. Photography is defined as the process or resulting artwork of taking and processing photographs through chemical or digital means. Chemical is when we're talking about something that actually uses a chemical process to develop a film photo. This could be something like a Polaroid, or way back in my childhood, where you had to send the film away to be developed at a lab. And digital is something where the image is kept in a digital format, either through a memory card or on the device itself. And then you can share it through a digital means, and it's made up of little tiny pieces or dots of color, which are called pixels. The culmination of our last lesson, we talked about film and digital cameras and the possibility of you bringing in some kind of technology from home. So technology is the device that we're talking about when we're actually creating our photos. So here I have some different versions of camera taking devices, including a digital camera in the top left. There's an iPod with a camera, which I don't even know if you guys have ever seen something like that, but that was like 2007 to like 2011. And then we have an iPad, and then we have a really old silver photograph camera. Take a few moments to talk about some rules that will help you take really stunning photographs. In my art classroom, we talk a lot about rules in art and how different artists can adjust or break those rules to help create their art. But this is something that I want to discuss and use today when you are taking your own photographs, and this is called the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds involves mentally dividing up your image using 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines as shown in these images. You then position the important elements in your scene along those lines or at the points where they meet. Okay, this is called the rule of thirds. Basically, we're taking a big tic-tac-toe board and superimposing it upon an image and lining up the main subject of our image with a PowerPoint. So simply put, you're dividing the canvas into 3s and you're laying those important images along those PowerPoints or those lines. Traditional images always had the subject smack dab in the middle, and then as we have evolved our artistic eye throughout the ages, different people have found that people are more interested and will look longer at an image if the main focus of the image is along a PowerPoint. When you look at a photograph, your brain will want to look at specific areas and you're not sure why. It just grabs your attention in a different way. This might be a hidden shape. Because we're trained from an early age to look for the art element of shapes and things, think about like squares and circles and how our face is divided up in an oval, and then we have these round orbits, and we have a triangle for a nose, and we have a bow shape for a mouth. These are all things that we're looking for. So let's discuss what this has to do with photography. One of the most interesting shapes for me when I'm looking at photographs is always triangles. A triangle is 3 lines that create 3 different points and can focus your eye in an interesting way. So if we look at these 5 images that I've picked out, you'll see little triangles superimposed over the image, and that draws your eyes in a specific way. The triangles don't have to be equilateral. That means they're not shaped perfectly, not all sides match. And I think actually when they are irregular triangles, it actually is more interesting to my eye. So if we take a look at the top left, the little boy who's in the light of the window, you can see how that triangle leads from the subject of the image, which I would say is his head, down across his body, and it tapers off to a point. Let's look at some more images and see if you can find any hidden shapes. Looking at these images, I hope that you're thinking not only of triangles, but of different geometric shapes as well. homework you you were supposed to do, that Google form you were supposed to fill out that included different things about photography and your own opinions? Well, let's take a look at some of the answers that my rock stars who remembered to do their homework turned in. One question that I think is always really interesting is there a favorite photograph hanging in your home? Then I'll have kiddos describe it for me. Some of these are talking about sisters. We've got one talking about family taking a big selfie. It's awesome to discover that for our friends. Okay, this is the next question. Would you choose to photograph fashion, cars, or street photography? We'll discuss these 3 different styles of photography later on in this lesson. And the final question of today is, which style is better in your opinion? Black and white photography or color photography? So we have color, 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 and then regular photography, black and white, color, and black and white. So overwhelmingly we said color photography, which is another interesting thing because in previous years it's been black and white for different reasons. We're going to talk now a little bit about what it means to be a digital native, and then we're going to go over how to take a photograph on one of our school iPads, and then you're going to break into your groups and get going with your art today. Let's see what you can create. Simply put, a digital native is someone who's grown up in an atmosphere pervasive of specific types of technology. So I am an 89 baby, so my developmental and formative years were between the 90s and the early 2000s, and this was right when the internet was starting to come into homes. And it was a really interesting time to grow up because all of a sudden these home computers were popping up and we were having computer classes and all of that stuff throughout middle school and high school. It's been a really interesting change to see how technology has changed throughout my life, and I can't wait to see what happens. For example, my grandfather worked on the railroad, and when he started as an engineer, he learned how to use Morse code with telegraphing. And then as he progressed through his 40-year career, he ended up using the internet. So he's going from telegraph, okay, so little lines and dashes and dots and sounds and pulses of sound, all the way to telephones, and then all the way to the internet. So I can't wait to see what technology comes up with next. This has been Art with Mrs. Beaufeaux. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.